Okay, let's get right back with all of you great people and Webster Tarpley. Okay, Webster, let's take a look at what's going on over there.
So we have the geopolitics. Now,
yeah.
This is now the geopolitics of Obama-geddon, of the Obama administration. So Obama-geddon simply recognizes, I have to attribute, this is Dr. Bill Deagle of our distinguished network.
Yeah.
And came up with this one, yes.
Good work, Bill.
So Obama-geddon is a geopolitical strategy for which this Obama now is the front man. He's the plausible salesman for all this. But remember, the idea is that the Anglo-American ruling class decided in 2007, maybe in 2006 already, that they were reaching the point of diminishing returns with the Bush-Cheney neocon policy, which was unilateralism, go it alone, U.S., British, Israelis, more or less against the universe forever. Direct military action by U.S., British, Israelis. That was going very poorly, approaching military breakdown, approaching total isolation in the world, and, of course, approaching national bankruptcy. So now we have a new strategy, which is more of a traditional imperialist strategy, which is more divide and conquer. And the idea is that you, instead of being so absolutely obsessed with the Middle East for itself, the idea now is to have a much broader chessboard, a grand chessboard, as Brzezinski would say, or a bigger worldwide strategy. Obama more or less said this at various times during the election campaign. So now imperialism has to target the basic questions of world domination, and that is not Iran in any way, shape, or form. That is Moscow and Beijing. The two countries that can seriously contest world hegemony are Russia, China, and all the more so if they're together in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So how do you get beyond U.S., British, Israelis against the world? Well, one thing we saw was in August already, and still under Bush, we have the Principals Committee, of course, ruling with Gates and Rice and Mullen and Paulson actually exercising power. So we had the Georgia attack on the Russian forces in South Ossetia, the Saakashvili madman strategy. And this more or less ginned up a kind of at least an arc of tension where you had not just Georgia, but also Ukraine and Poland and these little Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. Now, those are all NATO members. You're pledged to fight and die for Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Poland, because they're all NATO members. But to use them as a kind of a first strategic echelon, in other words, the first attack wave is made up of kamikaze puppets, we can call them, expendable assets, proxies, pawns. The Anglo-Americans, and I think the Israelis too, stay in the background. They don't get immediately engaged, because really they can't. The Israelis were defeated in Lebanon. U.S. defeated in Iraq and in Afghanistan. The British defeated in Afghanistan and also in Iraq by any real measure. So they've got to hold back and let others do the fighting, dying, bleeding, and bankruptcy for them. So the idea is that you've got to recruit some of these dupes. Now, Georgia, Poland, Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, that's already a fairly significant wave to throw at Russia. It brings you the possibility of cutting off the natural gas, in particular, from Russia into Western Europe, and then getting a crisis going there. However, we'd have to say that on the European side, the NATO Council has just restored normal diplomatic relations and so forth with Russia. And it reflects the fact that the OSCE, the Helsinki monitoring group, has found that, of course, Georgia was the aggressor. There's no doubt about it. So all of that brouhaha, all of that breastfeeding about Russian aggression, simply a big lie. The aggressors were Georgia. No two ways about it. But now let's look at the question of China. It looks, for the moment, as if the U.S. and the British are being more aggressive vis-a-vis Russia and perhaps less so vis-a-vis China, except that what they're doing is attacking all of the Chinese allies and partners around the world. Look at Jimmy Carter. I think this was a very interesting moment. People have gotten this illusion that Jimmy Carter was a peace angel. Jimmy Carter was, along with Herbert Hoover and James Buchanan and a couple of others, one of the absolute worst presidents we've ever had. He presided over the total destruction of U.S. industrial base with Paul Adolph Volcker, who's now back as a top advisor to Barkey. It's an unbelievable thing, but let's not waste time on that in the present hour. We can maybe get to that in the second hour on economics. But the idea then is that the Chinese have got deals with Zimbabwe, former Rhodesia, right, the country of President Mugabe. Carter was trying to get into Zimbabwe to destabilize the country under the cover of human rights. Now, whether Carter knows it or not, and I think he probably halfway knows it, he is being sent in there for destabilization, certainly for interference in the internal affairs of a sovereign state as a neo-colonialist operative. And I think much to their credit, the Zimbabwe government said, no, go home, get lost. We're not letting you in here. We don't have to let you in here. You have no standing. We've also got a huge civil war brewing up in the former Belgian Congo. This appeared just now in the past month or so.
Oh, yeah.
You got the Tutsi armies. The basic concept for the imperialists in that part of the world, at least as for the Congo, is this notion of the Nilotic peoples, the peoples of the Nile, so to speak, against the others, and the principal two in the Nilotic group would be the Tutsis and the Luo. And Obama, of course, belongs to the Luo. But with the Tutsis, this is basically Uganda and Rwanda. That allows you to destabilize this huge area, the former Belgian Congo. And that's, of course, Katanga. That's, again, tremendous resources of strategic raw materials, right? Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. You've just had riots in Nigeria with 400 people killed. Far more people killed in Nigeria than in India in riots that were set up between
Christians and Muslims.
And Muslim, right? Yeah. Muslim being north, right? The House of Fulani, and in the south, the two groups, the Igbo and the Yoruba, right? So that divides north to south. So that's all going on, and at the same time, then the destabilization of Kenya with this Luo, this Odinga. So it's all a process of attacking everybody who is a friend of China, and that brings us to Pakistan, which is the greatest friend that China has.
A nuclear Pakistan. And we'll be right back and pick that thread up in just a couple minutes. Glad you're along. Be right with you.